Hey everybody, welcome to BrickVault. Today is another LEGO Top 10 Mocks of the Week episode. This is the episode where we find the coolest LEGO builds that people have been making throughout the past week. I highly encourage you guys to check out their flickers in the links below. And if you want your own LEGO creation to appear in next week's episode, there is an email in the description below. And jumping right into the episode, the first build or series of builds really that I want to show you guys is called Brick Buddies Game by jtheels. Technically, I think this is sort of Brick Buddies round 2 or maybe even round 3, where the builder here actually creates characters from popular TV shows and or movies and or maybe games or whatever kind of pop culture, but they're built in a very sort of minimalistic way, and it's kind of a game where you look at the characters and you sort of try to guess who they are. I showed off this game quite a long time ago when the first round of characters came out, and now there is a whole new batch. So check out the links. Remember, if you want to play the game, there is a way to sort of click through the flicker so you're not accidentally told the answers before you guess. Anyways, I thought it was a lot of fun. You can go play it if you like, and this next build is called Welcome to Portland by Patrick Biggs. This LEGO build was directly inspired by the Welcome to Portland, Oregon sign. Features the shape of the state in the background and the white outline of a stag prancing in the air. Personally, my favorite aspect of this creation is the build for the stag. It's highly posable, which is the coolest part. The stag is in the air for this shot, looking like it's in sort of mid-leap, but here there's also a very animated pose of maybe when the creature just spots you looking from a distance. The monochrome white works really well, of course, for the Oregon sign, but also I think it's just a really cool design choice for this creature. And moving on to number 8 on this list, we've got the LEGO 1971 Lamborghini Miura P400 SV. It's quite a long name for a relatively small build for a car. I believe this is done in sort of a classic minifigure scale. At this size, it's pretty hard to get the sort of distinguishing features of a car to really pop, but I think the builder really managed to capture it well. I particularly like the sort of gray undercut by the orange. And showing this build off, I also just wanted an excuse to show off a bunch of other builds that this guy has done. Here we've got a bunch of really awesome classic sports cars. This guy is an expert at building minifig scale sports cars. I'm not sure if you can fit a minifig inside, but they're really, really cool. Now moving on to number 7 from the list, this is the Federation Battle Mech by Mark of Falworth, and you can see the classic space influences are really, really heavy with this one. I think the mech works really well with the blue and gray, and based on how this build is put together, it looks like it's really easy to move around. It can have a lot of animated dynamic poses, and it doesn't look too heavily armored, where often when you see giant mech creations, they get to maybe be put in 1 or 2 poses, but it takes a long time and it's super, super delicate, where this one actually looks like it could be played with quite easily, and it looks really, really good. Personally, I was actually drawn to this build because of this particular scene that he used it in, and I wonder if someday we might not see a Blacktron inspired battle mech to counteract this guy. Now this next build is something that I haven't seen anybody make in LEGO before. It really reminds me of an old Transformer toy I used to play with. This is called Spybug, and it was created by the builder Aron Newman. Now I'm just guessing, but based on the closed version of this bug and the open version, I think there's a really fun sort of twisting motion to get that blue trans piece underneath the sort of clear white dome pieces. It makes for a super organic looking and realistic looking sort of scarab beetle or some kind of flying bug, and it closes off into what looks like an almost perfect egg shape. A really, really talented little build. And this next one by Rocco Buttliere is one of the coolest micro builds. This guy's always doing really, really impressive large scale micro builds, and the latest thing he's added to the City of London is the London Eye in County Hall. This, I believe, has been a long ongoing project, and it seems this builder has found just the right scale to include quite a lot of detail, but still managed to keep all of these buildings relatively small. That being said, he just keeps on building and expanding the area. This is a really awesome sort of double section of London, and it's hard to point out all of the details to really focus in on here, so I will just say the London Eye is got just, I don't even know how exactly he put this thing together. It looks like it's largely made of just a ton of flexi tubes, lots of white minifigure hands, and I believe the strings here are strings that actually come from Lego sets. I'm not entirely sure, but I believe this is all just 100% Lego pieces, and the detail you see here on the London Eye is not neglected on any other aspect of this entire micro build. I highly recommend you check out some of the other stuff on this Flickr. And number 4 here is a build by Alexis dos Santos. It is Mortal Engines, and particularly this is the Salthook Castle, or maybe Salthook Town. It's really hard to tell. I only just became aware of the novel series that this was based on. I watched the trailer after having seen this particular build, and there's a movie coming out around this. It seems kind of really weird and fantastical, but definitely looks like it could be a lot of fun. We basically have a moving town here. It's on treads and wheels. It drives around sort of a deserted wasteland, and this is a great combination of tech and sort of old style architecture. It's got very much a steampunk sort of vibe to it, though I don't know if this exactly fits into that genre. Because this is a build based on a very well fleshed out fantasy series, just about every corner of this town, I guess, has been fleshed out with a ton of fun details, lots of little things to notice here. And this is the first Lego build for me that has actually made me excited, really excited to see the movie that this thing is based on. Now, not too long ago, Lego did make a Lobo set featuring the awesome character Lobo on his Spacehog. Well, Sean Snyder decided to maybe bring it up just a little bit in size. And by just a little bit, I mean it's massive. At this particular scale, you can really do a lot of fun things to show off really cool details. Personally, I like the way the hair was built with all those little fun connections. The muscle definition on Lobo himself is actually pretty well defined. I particularly like how he did the neck. I think the skull looks amazing. I'm not sure if those are custom little LEDs. I have a feeling they might be. And the bike itself has been fleshed out to a very, very micro degree. This isn't a build that's really cool necessarily just because it's a really big one, but the builder here has managed to use every ounce of larger space to fit in more and more detail, and the closer you look, the more impressive this thing gets. Now, normally I don't include builds that have a little bit of extra things added that aren't pure Lego, but an exception had to be made for this one. This is the Dragon's Wrath by MRXSTO999. According to the builder, this was inspired by another image that he found on DeviantArt, and there is just something so wonderfully animated and terrifying about this dragon. But really what I think makes this build so eye-catching is the amazing lighting that was put down to show the fire sort of spiraling downward and smacking into the ground. It almost looks sort of like a warning shot for the night, because something tells me that this dragon could have taken him out pretty darn easily from where he's sitting. The dragon looks to be made of a pretty even amount of Technic and system bricks sort of combined to make a solid-ish, flat, sort of smooth body. I like the wheel pieces used for the neck, and the non-Lego pieces, or at least I think it's non-Lego, is the black cloth used for the wings. There's just something so striking about this image though. I really, really like this build. And this last one, the number 1 build of the week, is Chichen Itza by One Soko. Now, this is a build that you wouldn't normally, or doesn't necessarily stick out to you in a really big flashy way like the last one, but the devil is really in the details here. The thing that really, really gets me for this are the sort of corner walls. When you look closely, those are not actually flat layers going up, but they're all just turned in ever so slightly. And it's a detail that I don't think most people notice that they're seeing right when they first look at this build, but it makes it immensely more complex to actually have a slant put onto all of those sides. And from afar, it makes this structure feel a lot more real, a lot more alive. And seeing someone put in so much extra effort for what I think a lot of people might consider a relatively small detail just shows that this creator really, really cared about this project and was willing to put in probably 3 times as many hours to include something that they really, really felt that they had to do. I think it totally pays off, and that is it for our top 10 mocks of the week. Now we are going to be showing you guys the fan mock creations. Remember, if you want to submit your own creation to us, sending pictures or something like that, we've got an email in the description below if you'd like to do that. And I'm done talking, everybody. Thanks a lot for watching. Here are the fan mocks of the week.